Thanks to all of you for being here this afternoon. And my project a video game that I designed at VIA, a graduate program for game design at UCF last summer. And I got funding from that through VIA and Stetson, so that couldn't have been done without their funding, so thank you guys for that. So my primary goals for the project were twofold. From a technical perspective, I wanted to showcase the main three things that people think about when they think of video games. From a gameplay perspective, there are platformers, which are things like Mario. You jump from platform to platform to get to the goal. There are open world games where you explore, find objects, can pretty much do whatever you want. And there are shooters, so asteroids, space invaders, that sort of thing. And each level of the game showcased one of those gameplay perspectives. From a more conceptual perspective, I wanted to show the different ways that video game could be utilized. Because when most people think of games, they think of entertainment, and that is primarily what they're used for. But they can also be used in education and to jumpstart people's interest in a variety of fields. I started off my interest in science when I was younger by playing computer games, and that interest has continued throughout the rest of my life. And I wanted to show how that could be something that can be jump-started for other people. This is the first level, which is a platformer. You play as a white blood cell. And what white blood cells do, for those that aren't familiar with microbiology, is they essentially are our body's attack system. Something bad comes into the body and the white blood cell destroys it. But before the white blood cell can do that, they have to differentiate and essentially become adult. And to do that, they escape from the bone marrow, which is what you do in the first level here. The second level is the open world aspect, where you run through this sort of a maze, but not really a maze, because there are multiple ways to get through. You collect the molecules, and they can be collected in any order, but you can't leave the level until you've collected all of them. And that sparkling sound is something of an indicator for you throughout the maze, because there are no official instructions aside from, well, you need to get these things. The sparkling sound lets you know when you are close to the object, and it gets louder and louder as you continue to approach it. Now, this is the level that I had the most fun making, because it was the most challenging and ended up being the most game-like. What you do here is you run through the bloodstream, and there are 3 pathogens, so the bad things in the body that are attacking you. And to beat the level, you have to kill all of them. And you shoot those orange triangles, which are called antibodies, and the antibodies help to destroy the pathogens. And you have to be careful when you're running around them, because they can also kill you. That's an example of being killed by one. You have to respawn, and those are the health bars that indicate the 3 pathogens and yourself. After they're all killed, you can exit the bloodstream, and you win. Now, the process of actually getting to that was a trial, and it started off with the blocking and scheduling aspect, and the scheduling for me was really important because this was an 8-week summer project. There was very little room for error with the timing. You couldn't have like 2 weeks where you didn't do anything, where you got stumped in a mental or artistic block. You had to get done or it wasn't going to get finished. So I made a list of all the things that and then the things that I wanted, but time permitted. And I got all of the things in that I needed to have in, but there were definitely some things that I didn't get to finish as much due to the time constraints. And one of the reasons I enjoyed making a game so much and why I had such a great time at FIA was because game design is so interdisciplinary, like the major of digital arts is. And making a game, especially by yourself, you have to do all of the things that the major constitutes to make one that's playable and fun and interactive. You have to make art, you have to be able to program, you have to do some audio. And my primary focus is on 3D modeling and programming, so that was the bit that I was strongest with. I have no audio background whatsoever, so getting that in was a struggle. But I started with the art because that's what I'm strongest with, and it was what I was most confident I'd be able to do well. So I started off with really, really basic drawings and then went into programming because I knew that's what would take the longest, because the functionality in a game is what's most important. And for those of you that aren't familiar with programming, it's basically speaking computer language. And what was necessary for the programming was like, you see the art, but the programming is like the skeleton. It's very important and it's the backbone of the game, but you don't see it. So being able to move the character, being able to die and come back, being able to collect the molecules, everything that makes the game interactive is based on programming. And the audio was basically just, this is not immersive, something needs to happen here, there has to be some kind of sound, and it ended up being kind of an afterthought for me, honestly. The main challenge I had with the project was the scope of it, which is something that will hopefully help me a lot with senior project next year. Within the 8 weeks, I had to come up with a functional project that I was able to present to you. And I started off early in the summer with like this big, massive idea that ended up being changed a lot, especially because what I initially had was more of a simulation and less of a game. It was too boring, it wasn't interactive enough. So those were the main things that ended up changing throughout the summer. It got more interactive and it got smaller. So it ended up being more of a demo and something that anyone could just sort of pick up and play. The things that went well was at FIA, I got to learn a lot of new software and continue to build on my 3D modeling skills that I learned sophomore year. And it was really great to completely immerse myself in that environment for 8 weeks, because it's not like being in class where you got 3 or 4 other classes going on and 3 or 4 other assignments. It was 8 weeks of just game design, and that was a really amazing experience. It was also a great experience with learning about teamwork, because I learned a lot about the things that I do well and the things I don't do well, and making a game or making a movie or any sort of soundtrack, like it's a team effort, it's a team project, and I feel like that's something a lot of us don't realize as students, because most of our projects are individual work. And the overall takeaways were, like I said, the value of a team and being able to go to people and ask for help. Like, I don't know audio, someone that knows audio, please help me so I have something that works. I'm good at art, I could help a programmer with art. I could help an audio person with programming. And I got to experience what a 9-to-5 day in the industry was like. Every single day, just game design. I wake up, I come to FIA, I work on the game, I go in the break room and scream over lunch because something's broken, and then I come back and work on it again. And one of the really valuable things about having that experience my sophomore year is that now I know what to do going forward in my senior project. I know a bunch of pitfalls to avoid. I know how to schedule and map myself out. I have a good idea of what size project I can make. And I also, because of this experience, I'm able to make work with that quality and better much quicker now. So I feel like I'll be able to have like a senior project that's a pretty significant scope and
Good.
Who do you see as the audience for that game? Who would play that?
I pictured it mostly as like a kid's game, like on mobile, like a phone game or iPad, that sort of thing.
Would they, you see a general audience, or would they have to be interested in?
The intent is to sort of spark the interest in biology. Like,
Okay.
oh, this is cool. How do I learn more out of this? It's not meant to stand on its own. It's meant to be a supplement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you made this year, sophomore year.
It was the summer after my
Summer
sophomore year,
after,
so
and you're-
last summer. I'm a junior now.
Ah, cool.
So how are you going to develop this for your senior project?
This isn't going to be my senior project. I'm making something completely different. I've got a lot more experience to avoid some of the problems with this now, and going back and fixing those problems is a lot more difficult than just starting from scratch, honestly.
So what would you do totally differently?
I'm a better programmer now, so there are a lot of things that are broken that wouldn't be, and I'd start the audio earlier for sure. I didn't realize how important that was, and there are some things involved in the UI and like with the instructions and with the menus that I didn't realize would be so important to making a game look polished,
Yeah.
that now I realize that I need to allot time for, that I didn't allot time for originally.
Awesome.
What else do you use for software?
I used Maya for the modeling and the graphics, and used Substance Painter, which is basically like, Maya's like the digital version of sculpting. Substance is like painting on the sculpture, and I used that to make the textures look organic and like the body. To make the actual game, I used Unity, and it was programmed in C#.
I think this was very ambitious of you to take on as a junior, and very clever to be prepared for next year.
Are you still going to pursue a game for your senior project that is geared towards medical imagery?
Yeah, you already knew the answer to that, though.
I don't know. I don't know what you're going to be doing, but
I'll tell you if you want.
I'd love to hear it.
I'm planning on doing like an atlas of neuroanatomy in like a touchscreen app, so you could spin it around and touch it and click on all of the parts of the brain, and also use some AR scanning on like a picture of the head, and you can use the photo tool to scan the QR code, and you can visually see the scan that way as well.
Okay, very nice.
That
Thank you.
sounds really cool.
Thank you.
Question? No? Thank you so much.